No, I'm running for governor of California.
My name is Adam Brown, and my role is Ensign Jorian Zen.
My name is Carlos Pedraza, and I'm the staff writer for Hidden Frontier.
Well, my name is Jennifer Cole, and I'm what I guess is considered a director, producer, sometimes actor. I sometimes play the role of Commodore Cole. But lately I've sort of been kind of typecast into a bartender role.
My name is JT Tepnapah, and I play Aster on Hidden Frontier.
I'm David Dial. I play Commodore Knapp on Hidden Frontier.
Well, I'm Dave Mason, and I've done some directing for Hidden Frontier, and I've also been a Ferengi from time to time, so I guess my greedy side comes out. It's fun directing, too.
I played Verena. I played Cyrilla, Dr. Anderson, and a lady of the evening, most recently. And I think I've played a couple aliens.
I'm John Whiting. I've played several roles on there. The primary role is that of Dr. Henglar, the less than lovable chief medical officer.
Helm, move to intercept.
And I went back to be a starship commander, which I like a lot. Better than being desk-bound, so I sort of know how Knapp feels at times.
Well, that's been sort of a bone of contention for me because as Captain Knapp, commander of the Excelsior, I was a much more active character on the bridge and firing photon torpedoes and all that. And moving to Deep Space 12, I was sentenced to flying a desk, and I missed the action.
It was so much fun, and there's a real sense of family here. I just kind of weaseled my way into the production, and now here I am, one of the characters.
I would like to think that I have an eye of how I envision a scene, how it plays out, and I hope I get that across to the actors and finally to the audience.
I like to play Verena the most because it gives me a chance to explore another side of myself, the potential for evil that we all have within us.
Cole has changed in that she has a lot of experience, and she sometimes feels very frustrated by being second banana or sometimes third banana to Nechayev. So there's this little conflict that we've sort of seen a little bit over the years in some of the episodes between Nechayev and Cole, excuse me.
For Aster, it was Ro. It's all about Ro and how he was falling in love with him and how he wasn't getting that back. So I think the major development was just coming to terms with the idea that Ro's not going to be his boyfriend. I guess that was his turning point, and trying to get over that, trying to get over Ro, and he's always constantly trying to find the perfect mate, and I think he's always on this constant search. And I think the character, Aster, is finally slowed down a bit, you know? He's maybe a little more mature.
And this is John trying to work.
Okay, so step one.
Is which Hazel?
I never thought I would get into makeup in the first place because I have little or no artistic abilities, very little imagination. And to make new aliens rather than just duplicate what's already been done is very difficult for me.
Actually, the makeup helps a lot getting me into character. It really helps you feel the part. And I found when I played different characters, after I've done the makeup and the costumes, my posture's different. My attitude's different. It really helps you jump into the skin.
Each of them is very memorable because each of them has been very much a learning experience. My very first effort at the Tellarite nose was a big improvement over the Halloween nose we were using at the time. Sirach was my first major alien of significant appearance change. I've been very proud of the Cardassian work I've been doing lately. I hope eventually we get costumes that I can do the actual neck ridges. Right now our costumes don't permit that.
The challenges with acting with makeup, you want to make sure that it remains fresh and constantly having to touch it up or not get makeup on another actor or breaking out with skin. I remember one episode after I was Verena, I was washing green off my skin like a week later. It just had like absorbed into my pores, and yeah, my poor skin was quite beaten.
I prefer not working in makeup as with makeup, just because it's so much work getting the stuff on and off, and it's just much simpler just being human.
The introduction of the character of Commander Neros is probably one of the best introductions that I think we've done of a new character. Because he's so mysterious and you don't know what the heck his agenda is. We learned a little bit about him in Hell's Gate Part 2, especially when we introduced the character of Sirach, who I think is, next to Verena, our greatest arch nemesis, the greatest villain that we could come up with.
Sirach is a special case because I was told to make him look alien, make him look a little sinister, and do it in an hour or less. So, again, what I did is I went back to Ted Cassidy as Ruck the android in the original series, What Are Little Girls Made Of? And I thought about all the aspects that made him look sinister and tried to incorporate several of them into the makeup, so that we have the deep set eyes, the decidedly non-human skin color.
When Barbara Clifford is doubling for Shikev and she's walking around set covered in blue and like has a barely there like neckerchief on, running around the set, and I'm thinking, we're really comfortable with each other to be able to do this on Hidden Frontier. But yeah, I think that was my funniest moment, and poor Barbara, God bless her for doing that, running around half naked.
Verena can get away with robbery, and she can get away with breaking the law because she has the support behind her of other beings that people usually don't want to go after. The mafia, in a sense. She's got the backing of criminals that are pretty hardcore. She doesn't care. That's basically, I think, one of the main things, is that she doesn't really have a conscience like other people. Therefore, she doesn't have fear of being caught. She thinks she's invincible.
I guess my favorite episode is the one that James I directed, which was Piracy of the Noble. And I really liked that because of the fact that it forced our heroes to re-examine their feelings about the Maquis and to realize that the people that we think are underground criminals can actually be heroes, that you shouldn't prejudge people or situations until you see all the facts. I really liked that. I enjoyed working with James on that, and we got some really great performances from the cast.
We learned that he can be a little more brave than he seems. He's a little quiet and he's a little shy, but I think in Piracy of the Noble we see that he can be, when someone in command needs him, he can be there for him.
It shows us that we need to see things from other points of views. I think in Piracy of the Noble we established that because we went into the beginning of that series giving the audience a sense that these people were criminals, and then halfway around in the episode we show that they were actually heroes. And getting to see the other guy's point of view is what Star Trek is basically about. One edit that we did on Piracy of the Noble was involved the ship. When the Columbia blows up, we did feel that explosion was close enough, so we wanted that to be a bigger and closer explosion. So those are the types of things we're looking at. We're listening to the sound, we're looking at the edits of the scenes, and I don't think it was a matter of number of edits. It really wasn't that many, so it went very smoothly.
Welcome to Hidden Frontier. That's what we used to use.
Sorry, dude. Dude, I'm sorry, man. Sorry, dude, sorry, man.
Chill.
Hey, yo.
Can I ask you something?
Ask and ask.
They say you go backwards in evolution. Oh, me, Jane. You, Tarzan. Me, eat you up.
What the hell are you doing?
What?
The story for our addictions came from a few real-life incidents. My younger brother was experiencing some drug problems and some personality problems as a result. And several of the incidents in there are based on actual incidents. Like the threat to cut my throat because I was not supporting the family is one of the more memorable ones.
Yeah, that was the first time I appeared in elaborate makeup. I had sort of thanked my lucky stars that I played a human on the series because I didn't have to do much in the way of makeup. But for that particular role, I think John had me in there and was gluing strips of thin rubber on my face and painting over it to create the skin effect of the alien.
I did manage to injure my shoulder pretty badly doing the table stunt, which I wish had turned out better because the actor who was supposed to hit me did not make it look very convincing, so in a way the injury was a sacrifice for nothing.
High three. High three.
Ow! Ow!
Ah!
Corey.
Throw your phaser away, Ensign, now! Now! Now!
In Grave
Yes,
Matters,
right.
I try to tackle a number of issues, from very personal ones, like Roe's connection to his family and the fact that his grandfather was someone he respected so much and still had this dark secret, to much more macrocosmic issues like war and peace and people from different cultures struggling to make peace and how difficult that is when there's so much that gets in the way of that.
The largest turnout we had was we were filming Grave Matters, and we had 8 or 9 different ladies show up, and it was just, felt like a cattle call. It was one after the other. And it was a good learning experience because it was also a lot of fun because 8 or 9 different types of personalities were sitting here reading the same lines, and you're getting just different perspectives. And I liked that. And it's like if I could have, I would have given all of them a role, that same role. But it was hard because we could only choose 1 or 2 actors for the episode we were casting for.
I think each of the characters in Grave Matters is very flawed. Each of them has something wrong with them in addition to trying to make something else better. And it was my hope that the big political background of war and peace and death would frame some very personal struggles each one of the characters was having.
I think that we've learned that the characters they're not supermen. They're not automatically good all the time. They don't automatically make all the right decisions.
I like the fact that we're going to be a little bit darker at times, and I like the fact that our characters are flawed and pretty well-rounded. And we also see the heroic sides too.
The most important one was Roe, what Roe learned. about the need to forgive, the need to look beyond his own prejudice, even though his people were the ones who were oppressed. That doesn't mean that the oppressed can't have prejudices of their own that can get in the way of peace for him, as well as furthering his own inner journey to figure out who he is and what role Aster plays in that. Maybe for the first time he sees that he plays a role in larger society, in Bajoran society, where his words and his opinions can carry some weight in the way that the Bajoran people are going to look at their relationships with the Cardassians in the future. So he really symbolized, I think, what a lot of people, a lot of characters in the show need to learn.
Directing Crossroads was an experience. I mean, I directed personally things totally without a green screen, and it's a lot different. It was crazy. I mean, for a new director, I would tell him, okay, sit down, think about every single scene, and you have to think about exactly how you're going to do every scene, and you have to really just concentrate on what you're going to do, because there was a huge battle scene and you have all these actors there and you have to make sure that you have the right intensity for all these actors. This is a pain in the ass.
There are moments, I think, in Crossroads that I would have changed. I would have acted a little more strongly, sort of trying to fit myself into him and find out who he is really was a challenge, and trying to be a little more quiet and a little more reserved was a bit difficult for me. I tend to be not very reserved, especially around people I'm comfortable with.
And he's changed so much, he's matured a lot. I think because I've matured a lot, there's a lot of JT and Aster. And because I've matured a lot over the last 5 years, the character has seen a lot of that maturity. And hopefully he's ready for a good, stable relationship. I think the reaction of at least the people watching the show and seeing Aster and all the gay subplots, I think a lot of people see it as positive. I mean, I've been going to the boards and reading them, and a lot of people see him as positive, and they're really excited because they think Gene Roddenberry, this was the direction that he really wanted to go, but the networks wouldn't let him. I don't know how true that is. But, there are negative responses too, but I kind of like the negative responses. I mean, at least it gets them to think a little bit, Even if they hate what they're seeing, well, at least they get to see it, because that's the way Star Trek was meant to be, is to be all-inclusive for everything. So, sometimes when they get a little personal, it hurts a little bit, but it's good for them. My most memorable moment with directing Crossroads, I think it was directing Adam and I. I think that was the most fun, because we got to be together and shoot something together, and I kind of worked with him a little bit before, but he's so talented to begin with.
Your flubbing lines that you had perfect last night.
Didn't have to shoot too much, but I think because we're intimate off camera, I think it was really nice to bring that intimacy on camera, and that was really special for me.
With the season finale, Entanglements, I want to leave the audience in a very thoughtful mood. This is going to be an episode that's going to be heavy on many aliens, with a lot of drama. It's going to involve a lot of adventure without location shoots. It is going to be a very multi-character, multi-layered story. And I hope that fellow director Jennifer Coe and I can leave the audience with a sense of thought, a sense of wonder, a sense of mystery, as much as a sense of suspense. But I think more so than suspense, I like the idea of a sense of mystery coming through their minds at the end of this whole thing.
I think Verena has a lot of pain and actually a lot of shame, and she compensates by having the exterior of the tough guy, if you will. Her species was a species of sex slaves, of a prostitution ring, basically. And in a sense, she's gone against a society, like someone who comes from a country where their sex is repressed. And so in a sense, she's got a lot of spirit because she's overcome that.
I think it's really good if we can leave people at the end of the season guessing a bit.
New characters play a really valuable role for a writer because they become a good way to further a story arc. Before I write anything, I go back and rewatch a lot of episodes and look for things that, loose ends that haven't been tied, things that sort of piqued my interest when I watched them, and I've wondered, well, what could happen with that, a year later or 2 seasons later, and new characters sort of spring up to help tie up those loose ends, and I think we'll see in season 5 the return of a lot of formerly minor characters that began that we've seen in seasons 2, 3, and 4, that really just become the next link in the chain to move the arc forward.
I would like to think that she has a great purpose for being a starship captain and wanting the best from her crew and wanting to oversee the end of conflicts.
I'm glad that we're going to see some more time with Commodore Knapp, who we didn't see as much in season 4 or the last part of season 3, so he's going to come back a couple of episodes where he plays a big role.
There's so much battle. I think I want to see even more human stories. We're doing human stories now, and watching the episodes, I've seen human stories in the past, but I really want those because I think the technology is so secondary to everything human, alien, what have you, people interaction.
Everyone likes to see CGI battles and all that. I mean, that's all cool, but you can't have a story alone of ships flying through space, shooting phasers and photon torpedoes at each other. That doesn't make good drama. But I think it's the writing, it's the characters, and it's the directing. And you get all 3 of those together, and everyone's dead on. That makes a great episode of any episodic television or even movies.
Drama is drama, so in that case, I try to approach the stories that I think of or write for Hidden Frontier first as just good dramatic stories, and the fact that they're set in a science fiction universe with things like phaser beams and photon torpedoes are really secondary. And I don't have to fix it in this episode. I can show how it actually develops over time, which is how most of us actually deal with problems in our own lives. And so I think it makes the characters more believable, more real, and more compelling for the audience.
I think that the multi-part stories tend to be more popular because people like that sense of continuity. There's a big difference between TV episodes and movies, and the biggest difference is that movies tend to be driven by plots, and TV episodes tend to be driven by characters. And we have a multi-plot story, it allows you to get more inside of a character. If everything wraps up nice and neatly in a half hour, then you have a lot of plot, but you don't get to see a lot of the character. But when you have things spread over more than one part, then you can't help but get into the character more. And I think that's what people want. They want to get to know these people.
Characters are better played when they evolve slowly. And when you think about them, when you think about a character as already being inside you, rather than jumping into a skin of another character, I think it's more organic and it's more honest.
I know my limitations. I am not a particularly good actor. I know there are people out there that feel that being professional automatically makes you good and being amateur automatically makes you bad, and that does not follow. But for the most part, it's at least as fun as it was when it started, and maybe a little more so. When I first started, I didn't know the first thing about makeup, and I was stuck with this plastic pig nose. Now, because I didn't like one item of makeup, I self-taught myself to be a halfway decent makeup artist.
I think what we want people to come away with from watching Hidden Frontier is this sense that every person can make a difference, that every person can make this universe a better place to be, and that we can go into space with a sense of optimism that we can take on new challenges and we can take on explorations. I think also too, Hidden Frontier, probably more so right now than Enterprise or other Star Trek shows of recent years, has emphasized trying to look at things from another point of view.
And I think that's what this show has been able to address lately. And I hope we do more. And I hope we can really get people to think outside of their little square box.
Any Star Trek fan, I said in my blog, in fact, that, you know, there's the dream come true department. You know, anyone who's a writer and a Star Trek fan always wishes that they could write an episode of Star Trek. And for me, this was my dream come true, to see words that I wrote actually acted out and appearing on screen, complete with phaser blasts and transporter beams and all those things. So if I died tomorrow, I'd die a happy man.
One of those things that if you really like to do, you can consider it a hobby, you can consider it a stepping stone for a career. But if you're dedicated to it, you can make time for anything.
I think just creating something is rewarding in itself. That joy of seeing something to come together, and then when you sit down, you watch the videotape. That makes the whole thing worthwhile. You know, so we're not getting rich. Who cares? We're getting to put together a great story with great characters, and then seeing how that all comes together is a lot of fun.
Everyone has their own style, and it's wonderful to watch people direct, or to be directed as a amateur actor, even from someone who is going through the motions of learning, or to someone who is just like me, having fun and hopefully getting a written document onto the camera and out to the audience, and everyone go, I like that. That was great. That was cool. I understood that. And I think that's the fun part.
I think probably the most rewarding aspect of working on Hidden Frontier is getting to be a kid and pretending you're in outer space and being in this big playground, and the people make it fun. I mean, I really enjoy, playing around and working around with the people from Hidden Frontier. We're a very professional bunch, and we get the job done, and we're serious about the quality of the work. But at the same time, we make time to goof around a bit and to joke and laugh, and it really, it feels like a lot of fun. It feels like playing. It feels like being kids.